Great worship experience at Abba's House in Hickson, featuring inspiring messages by Pastor Ron Phillips and activities for all ages. Services start Sunday mornings at 10:30. For more, abbashouse.com. And I'm SOAR Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patriot. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Hot News Talk 1240.
Are you prepared for the bad stuff that's coming your way? What if the power goes out? What if your debit or credit cards don't work? Can you provide for your own safety and security? Well, it's a beautiful day here in Chattanooga. There's only 32 days left before spring. We've got some nice weather the next couple of days, and then we've got rain moving in this weekend. But with this show, we're going to help get you ready for the bad stuff that could be just around the corner. We don't know when it's coming. It may never come. But wouldn't it be better to be prepared if something does go wrong? Well, this is the Patriot Prepper Show. We're sponsored by P5 Preparedness, and we are going to help get you prepared for any emergency. This show airs every Thursday from 11 to noon right here on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio and also on the TuneIn app. And we're also going out live through YouTube at the Hot News Talk Radio channel on YouTube. I'm Duke Newcomb, and I'm your host. I've been a prepper for a little over 20 years. I'm joined by Eric Judd today. Good morning.
Good morning, Duke. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Wonderful day out.
It's absolutely beautiful. I didn't wear shorts today. I was wearing shorts yesterday.
Yeah, you were wearing shorts yesterday. And it was a little chilly yesterday. When I saw you late yesterday afternoon, you had shorts on, and I still had my jacket on. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
I just get sick of wearing long pants. I'm used to being a little bit warmer. So it's just a natural thing.
We have that in common. I get sick of wearing pants. And there's sometimes when I leave the house.
The difference is that I'm wearing shorts when I'm not wearing pants.
That's it. Okay. Fair enough.
Well, on a more serious note, the topic today, we're going to talk about safety. And when I start the show, I always talk about are the threats to your safety and security. Well, we talk about security a lot, but I want to talk about safety. That's something that's overlooked quite a bit. If you work in manufacturing or you work in industry, or if you work in the service trades, you're somewhat familiar with personal safety. But there's a lot of people that aren't. And just an example, if you have a push mower and you mow the lawn wearing flip-flops or no shoes, well, that's an example of something where you're not taking safety seriously, because there could be a nail in the grass, a sharp stick, there could be a snake hiding. You could end up with a bad cut on your foot just by stepping on something that's hidden in the grass. And there are worse things that could happen if you get your feet under the blade or something like that. That would be tragic. And so that's just an example of where you need to be safe by wearing the right type of shoes for what you're doing. So we're going to go through quite a bit of things on the safety front, but I want to cover a couple of tidbits first. I always like to start talking about the Baltic Dry Index. And we actually have some good news on that front for a change. It's the first time in about 3 months the Baltic Dry Index has gone up about 17 points over the last week. It's gone up every day. Maybe a point or two. So it's up to 307 points, up from 290 a week ago. So it's coming up. That's a good sign, but that doesn't mean that everything is just peachy. There's still some other things that are of interest that are going on. As an example, the Fed, the Federal Reserve, is looking at getting rid of the $100 bill. That means that they wouldn't be issued any longer, and as they're spent, they would be taken out of circulation. Well, what's the point of that? It would make it more difficult to get large sums of cash from the bank, because you'd either have to have denominations of $20 or $50, and it would be harder to keep that money out of the economy per se. It's harder to stash $20 bills instead of $100 bills. I think that's the philosophy that they're looking at there. And really, the point of this, part of it is to take the currency out of circulation, those larger notes, but it's also to move us one step closer to a cashless society. And a cashless society, that's where there is no paper money left in circulation. And all of our transactions would have to be through electronic means using either your debit card or a Visa card, credit card, something like that. And that's not really a good thing, because then we have very little control over our own local economy. We can't pay the lawn guy or the person around the corner. You can't buy your gas with cash anymore. You have to have a credit card. And so everything is tracked when they do that. And one of the ways that, as the Fed has been talking about this, the European Central Bank has also been talking about getting rid of the 500 euro note. And while they're considering that, that was the topic that I wanted to talk about, that they were considering it. Well, I read this morning that the ECB voted, the European Central Bank voted to eliminate the 500 euro note. And so Europe is taking that step to move closer to a cashless society. So what does that mean for us, for those that want to be prepared? If you don't have cash, a credit card, a Visa card, a debit card, you know, if the power's up, if things are just going fine, then that's great. But what if the power goes out and you need to buy groceries? Or what if the card system goes down? You can't buy anything at that time because the stores will not take cash. Cash will basically be outlawed. So you're no longer in charge of the economy. That means that the bank has 100% of your money. Is that a good thing? Is that how you want to do your business? That, frankly, folks, that scares me. I want to be in control of my own economy. If I want to buy groceries or vegetables from a friend or at the co-op, you need cash to do that, because a lot of those folks are not going to be able to have the means necessary to accept credit cards.
And you know, Duke, another thing you can look at too is that it's going to provide more income for the banks too, because they all charge a processing fee, whether it be for debit or credit. Now you're going to have a lot of fees that are charged and pull into that banking money that they're already taking from you anyway. Whereas the cash, if you and I do a cash transaction, I'm not charging you a fee to do a cash transaction, but on a debit or credit card, there are extra fees. So, I mean, even if, you know, the worst case scenario doesn't happen, think of all the fees that, and I'm sure, as our wonderful federal government will find a way to do, they'll find a way to tax those fees.
Yes, not only tax them, but move toward negative interest rates. Interest rates are at zero, and they have to do something to get the economy rolling. But they're not concerned about me and you, the small person in the economy. They're worried about themselves. They're worried about the banks. And if they have control of the money, they can charge negative interest rates. And so what does a negative interest rate mean? What that means is that if the negative interest rate is 1%, it's a negative 1%. If I have $1,000 in the bank, that means that I have to pay the bank 10%. I'm sorry, I have to pay the bank $10. Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I would earn money on my savings account. You know, I would earn 2.25% every month on the money that was in the bank. Well, boy, those things have gone away a long time ago. I think I paid something like $12 a month just for the privilege of letting the bank hold my money. And on top of that, Monday was a bank holiday. It was a federal holiday, but it wasn't a holiday for me at the store. But what that meant, because it was a bank holiday, all the transactions from Friday and Saturday, Sunday had I been open, Monday, they weren't credited to my account
until Tuesday. Yeah.
Well, the banking system didn't shut down. The electronic banking system didn't shut down. They were still able
They get to hold that money so they can play with it.
Right. Yeah. I was able to pay for things using credit cards. That money was taken out of my account, but the money wasn't credited back. And so they're keeping my money. And I don't like that. I want to be able to control my own economy, my own local spending, and cash is important. So where am I going with all this? The point is that you need cash. You need to keep some cash on hand. If the grocery store for 3 days wasn't able to accept credit cards or debit cards, would you be able to go buy groceries for the week? Would you be able to buy the things that you need? And so cash is very important. make sure that you have some cash on hand.
I agree with you. I think you should have cash not only on your person, but you need to have cash put away someplace. Enough cash. I've always thought enough cash to live on a minimum of 3 to 4 months. I prefer more, but that's okay. You know, I mean, it's your economic situation may be different.
Right. You may not be able to do that, but you better start putting some of that cash away. All right. So this show is sponsored by P5 Preparedness. P5 is located on East Brainerd Road between Gun Barrel and I-75, exit 3A. Look for the Big Army green deuce-and-a-half truck parked right out front. You'll see the signs that say P5 Preparedness. So turn at the stoplight or right in front of the store and come in. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. We offer a long list of classes. We have classes 3 or 4 nights a week and also on the weekends. So look us up at p5preparedness.com, or you can go to our Facebook site and learn all about the classes that we offer. Tonight, every Thursday night, we have a networking class. It's free of charge. It starts at 6:45 and runs until about 9 o'clock. And we're going to talk about seeds. We're getting toward the planting season. It's, like I said, getting towards springtime. Now is a great time to start buying your seeds. And at P5 Preparedness, we do offer a full line of gardening seeds. These are FDA certified organic seeds, very important. And so do you know the difference between an organic seed and a GMO? GMO is a genetically modified organism. And is that important?
Lovely. Wouldn't you want to eat something from that? A genetically modified organism. Yummy.
And they do that with our food.
Corn,
and
wheat, everything.
Chicken. Yeah. And so that's very important. And what about hybrid versus non-hybrid seeds? That is also important. You want to make sure that the vegetables and the fruits that you're growing are able to produce offspring. You want to be able to gather the seeds out of that apple that you planted and replant it and have a similar quality tree or plant bloom that produces the similar seeds. So come by the meeting. The purpose, we call it a network meeting because we want you to be able to talk to other people that think that like you. It may not be to the exact same thing. You know, you may be somebody that wants to use a water filter and they may just want to boil their water. But the idea is that you're both there to share your experiences and to meet other people that share the same kind of thought process.
And it really doesn't matter if you've been a prepper for 30 years and a professional or whatever, or you're just kind of interested in it. Y'all welcome everybody, no matter what degree of preparedness they are in the act of. And I will say, you know, I mean, Duke is way further along than I am in the preparedness thing, but I just like going in the store. It's just a neat store. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in that store that you probably wouldn't maybe think that would be in there. I mean, if you're a shooting enthusiast, they got all kind of holsters and other things, accessories for guns. A lot of people may not think you do have that. From time to time, you might have ammunition. You have water filters. I mean, all kind of cool stuff. Just go in and plus they've got that cool aquaponics thing, which go in and just see that. You need to see that. Everyone needs to see the aquaponics. I don't want to say contraption, but the setup you have in your store.
We just call it a system, cool. Yeah, aquaponics system. Yeah, we're growing fish in there. We've had bluegill in there for about a year now, and they're mature. So we're going to wait another month or two, and then we're going to have a really nice fish fry. And the thing that's nice about that aquaponics system is that we're growing vegetables indoors. We've had vegetables in there year round ever since we put the system in, and they're doing remarkably well. And you mentioned the water filters, the Sawyer water filters. We've got a special on them this week for our radio listeners only. We're offering $5 off of the Sawyer Mini water filter. Those are normally $25, and so you can take one home today for $20. That's a fantastic deal. Everybody, you can't go 3 days without water, and you need to have clean water. And what better way than having a water filter so that way you don't have to worry about boiling it, or you're not going to find any pure water, even if it's coming from a spring outside of the in the woods somewhere. You're probably better off filtering that water. And so the Sawyer water filters are fantastic. $5 off the Sawyer Mini. So we want to talk about safety and why that's important. We talked about first aid last week. We've talked about first aid quite a bit on the show previously. The best way to treat an injury is to not get injured in the first place. If you think about some activities that you may not do on a regular basis that are somewhat dangerous, things like chopping wood using an axe or using a chainsaw, something as simple as gathering wood or digging a hole. These are activities that they're some are more dangerous than others. You know, you're thinking about, well, gathering wood, what's so dangerous about gathering wood? Well, there's a lot of threats out there. You're going to gather wood off the ground. You're looking at sticks that have fallen or trees that have been cut down. And there are dangers that are on the ground. There might be spiders. We have black widows, brown recluses in this area. What about snakes? We have a number of venomous snakes in this area. We have rattlesnakes, obviously, that live up in the trees. Timber rattlers, the southeastern diamondback or the eastern diamondback rattlesnake are in these areas. And you need to take precautions. So even something as simple as gathering wood, you know, there's mosquitoes, there are wasps, there's all kinds of bugs out there. And so as something as easy as gathering wood, it could potentially be life-threatening where there is no organized medical treatment available. If you were to misswing an axe and you cut your leg, that's something that's going to require sutures at a minimum. Well, if general first aid, you can put some gauze on that and off to the hospital you go. But what if there is no hospital? What if there is no doctor? What are you going to do? And in a grid down situation, those things are very dangerous, those activities. Something like, as I said, swinging an axe or a chainsaw. If you're just curious to see what a chainsaw can do to a body, Google it. Look up some of the images to see what a chainsaw blade can do to a leg, an arm, a shoulder.
You may want to wait till after lunch to do that.
No, do it before lunch.
Be a great diet plan. Here's the P5 preparedness diet plan.
The point is that bad things happen. But if you approach things in a safe manner, you're going to be a lot better off. For instance, with a chainsaw, they make chaps that you can wear on your legs. They're made out of Kevlar. And for instance, I have a friend that his son was using a chainsaw, and he's used the chainsaw several times before. He's pretty good with it. But his dad told him, hey, put the chaps on. Well, that day he slipped with the chainsaw, made a mistake while he was cutting wood, and the chainsaw blade destroyed the chaps. And that's part of what those chaps are designed to do. They're Kevlar, so they're cut resistant. There's really nothing in life that's cut proof. But the point is that he was uninjured. He didn't have any cuts. It destroyed the pants, so that was about $80 that was down the drain. But
he saved his leg.
Yeah. Potentially saved his life, and saved, what's an injury like that cost? With surgery and hospitalization, it could be $100,000.
That was a great investment of $80.
Yes. And so $80 is expensive, I know. But think of the alternative. That's why we talk about preparedness. I was listening to the radio coming into the show this morning to somebody talking about an economic collapse and the dangers of, the stormtroopers, the federal government coming in with the sniper rifles. And he doesn't think that's going to happen. Well, let's hope. But why do you have homeowners insurance or renter's insurance or car insurance? You have those things because bad stuff can happen. A lot of people avoid going to the mall after dark because they may get robbed, or they don't go toward, certain areas of town because they may get shot at. If you're going to take those kind of precautions, why on earth wouldn't you have a 3-day supply of water? And I don't mean 3-day, but you can't go without 3 days. So why not have a supply of water? Why not have a supply of food? What if the bad stuff does happen? That's the point of the show. You got to get it in your mind that you have to be ready for these kind of things.
And I think the way you parlayed it in with insurance is great, because, you do buy homeowners insurance. You hope you never have to use it. But if you have to use it, it's there. If you do have a water filter, stored water, you have food, you have cash, whatever it is that you need to store up to be prepared, you hope to never use it. But if you do, it's there.
Yes, exactly. You just have to have that kind of stuff. And the food that we sell, the long-term storage food, is called long-term storage because at a minimum, will stay good for 8 years. We have canned food that can stay good for 25 or 30 years. And so you need to be prepared. And we offer a number of classes at P5 Preparedness, from an intro to prepping, just telling you about the basics. We can help you learn how to use a ham radio, and not only learn it, but get your license so you can operate it legally. We offer a number of first aid classes. We offer pail packing classes, different classes on what to put in your bug out bag or your get home bag. And these are the kind of things that we do at P5 Preparedness. So come by the store. We're on East Brainerd Road between I-75 and Gun Barrel. As you're driving up from I-75, look for the big Army green deuce and a half truck on the right side of the road, and come in 10 to 7. We're there to help you. There's no question that's too embarrassing. We talk about prepping every day, all day long. So come in and visit us at P5 Preparedness. We'll be back after the break.
Jr. He's got third. He's going for second. Earnhardt going for the lead.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is on the Motor Racing Network.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Hear it live on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Check it out live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Are you prepared? Do you have an emergency plan? Do you have the skills and mindset to survive a disaster? Now is the time to come to P5 Preparedness. We offer preparedness classes, supplies, and over 30 years of combined knowledge. P5 Preparedness, located on East Brainerd Road between I-75 and Gun Barrel. Look for the big Army truck. Call us at 423-602-2175. Do not wait. You need to get prepared today. Nobody knows what tomorrow holds. Get the skills and supplies you need or die waiting for help. P5 Preparedness.
Hello, I'm Mike Little, candidate for criminal court judge with 25 years of criminal court experience, which makes me the most qualified candidate. The experience I have gained from handling over 4,000 cases in state and federal court has equipped me with the ability to be fair, impartial, and independent. As your next criminal court judge, I will focus on keeping Hamilton County safe. I view this position as a public service and will strive to improve the daily operation of the court. I humbly ask for your trust and vote in the March 1st Republican primary.
Paid for by the committee to elect Mike Little. Barry Abbott, Treasurer.
On your signature, you can get $150,000. Can you believe that? $150,000 on your signature. Hi, I'm Bruce Krebs with the Entrepreneur Source. There's a program right now that you can get $150,000 on your signature with no pledge of collateral or personal guarantee. Call me at 423-875-5621 to learn more. 423-875-5621. You've been thinking about starting a business? Don't do it on your own. I have a proven track record for the last 13 years, a 96% success rate. I can guide you into a franchise where you will pay yourself through the startup phase with very low or little risk. Call me now. I'm Bruce Krebs at 423-875-5621. And make sure to listen to the Entrepreneur Hour every other Wednesday from 11 to 12 o'clock. Call me now, 875-5621.
I'm going to Carter Shooting Supply.
Carter Shooting Supply.
That's right, Carter Shooting Supply. They're having a great sale on all of their guns right now, and it's name brands like Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Springfield, their AR-15s. They've got the hottest gun in the land right now, the Sky 9mm. Man, it comes in all the cool colors. If you're an Alabama fan, they've got crimson. If you're a big orange fan, they've got an orange one. You know, all the women are loving the pink one and Tiffany blue. Plus, it has a lifetime warranty replacement. If the gun is stolen, all you need is your police report or receipt, and they'll replace it free. It has a 60-day full money-back guarantee. That's Carter Shooting Supply. They're in Harrison right there at 6210 Highway 58.
Are they online?
Yes, they are. That's cartershootingsupply.com, or give them a call, 423-344-1099. Now, this sale's not going to last too long, so you need to hurry up and get there. And they do have a great indoor shooting facility. You can get your Tennessee handgun carry permit also. That's Carter Shooting Supply, 423-344-1099.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. The CPD says a woman was shot on Wilkesview Drive. The victim was found inside of her home with a single gunshot wound to the foot. Apparently, she was shot while inside of her home. A suspect has not been located. There's no information on any suspect. The victim didn't provide any information because apparently she couldn't see who shot her. She was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The Cleveland Board of Education hopes to have its next director of schools in place by early June. The previous director of schools, Dr. Martin Ringstaff, was fired on February the 5th for conduct unbecoming following revelations he exchanged sexually explicit social media messages with a woman who was not his wife. According to one school board member, the board is hoping to have screening and searching for candidates in March and April, and the board will be engaging with the finalists in May. And two businesses in Red Bank have gotten a 10-day beer license suspension for selling beer to minors during a sting operation by the Red Bank police. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Looking good out there through the afternoon. Lots of sunshine. Warming up to highs into the upper 50s. Tonight, clear skies, but not as cold. Lows mid and upper 30s. For Friday, another great looking day. Lots of sun, even warmer highs, lower 60s. Continued mild with more clouds Saturday. For lunch or dinner, come to Guthrie's, home of the original golden fried delicious chicken finger with their special world famous sauce. Open daily, locations in Trenton, Signal Mountain, and Ringgold. Go get Guthrie's. It's always good. And I'm Schwarzine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick.
On AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio.
Nooganomics.com is a slap of fresh air, a 2x4 across the brain every morning. Read Nooganomics.com to find out what's happening in Chattanooga. Local-centric, Nooga-centric. Read it. The man who matters does. You should too. Nooganomics.com.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
We're back on the Patriot Prepper Show, sponsored by P5 Preparedness. We're here to help you get ready for disasters and emergencies. We're talking about safety today, and why is that important? We're going to talk just this first little segment here about hand safety, and there's a couple things that you need to do to protect your hands. The first thing you need to do is wear gloves where appropriate, and you need to wear the right kind of gloves. And I'll give you an example. I have a really nice pair of leather palmed work gloves, and on the back it's kind of a cotton mesh, and the leather part, it's fantastic for something like digging, using the inside of your hand for carrying a rifle, things like that, where you're having maybe a rough surface. That leather protection is fantastic. But like I said, they've got a light fabric kind of to air your hands so they don't sweat as much.
And you wear gloves no matter the time of year. I mean, if you're out working, you need to wear gloves that are appropriate for the summer and the winter.
Yes, cold temperatures, especially.
Because it's cold, people wear gloves, but you may need it in the summer as well.
And so I was wearing my nice favorite pair of work gloves, but I was cutting holes into PVC pipe. I was cutting 4-inch holes or 3-inch holes. And so that has a big 3-inch spinning blade on it. And as I was holding it, the bit started to shake a little bit in that PVC pipe. And so I put my right hand closer. I'm left-handed, so the left hand's on the drill, pushing down into the pipe. And that hole saw, it kicked out of the pipe, and it tore into my finger. And I looked down, and I saw the large hole in the glove, and my finger kind of felt funny. So I ended up looking in the glove, and I had a massive cut on my finger. And so I've got the scar on my finger to prove it for you watching at home on the video. I ended up going to the hospital, and I got 6 stitches. That could have probably been avoided if I was wearing 100% leather gloves. I was wearing the wrong glove for the job that I was doing. I didn't take the time to think about what I was doing. I was just going with the gloves that I was most comfortable with, and I ended up with a very nasty cut right on the knuckle. And it's been almost a year since I cut my finger, and I've gotten most of the feeling back. I've got most of the flexibility back in my finger. But the thing I'm most glad about was that I cut my right-handed finger, because I'm left-handed. If I'd have cut my left finger, I couldn't probably write very well. There's a lot of things that I couldn't do. So there's a lot of things that you can do, but you have to look at the hazards up front. If you're working with chemicals, you need to have the right kind of glove, some sort of chemical protective glove. All these kind of gloves you can get at the hardware store. You just need to go ask the person what is the right kind. It's like surgical gloves. You know, some people are allergic to latex, so they get the nitrile gloves. There's all kinds of gloves that are there to protect your hands, protect your fingers. So that's one thing that you can do. Wear the right type of gloves. The second thing to protect your hands is don't use broken or damaged tools, because, for instance, if you're using a hammer with a broken handle, if it's just cracked,
then you probably should wear a helmet.
Wear a helmet, wear eye protection at the same time, because if you hit wrong, that head of the hammer could go flying. Read the directions. I know as a guy, this is something that is difficult.
I read them after I can't get it together. Then I go back and read them, and then I'm taking things apart.
If you watched the old home improvement shows with Tim the Toolman Taylor, you'll remember the Binford Tools was the sponsor of the show. Well, the motto for Binford Tools was "Real men don't read instructions."
Yeah.
And I've got several shirts that have that, because that used to be my favorite expression. But I can't tell you how many times I have hung a ceiling fan twice.
Yeah, that's me. Everything's twice.
Because I hang the ceiling fan, it's completely done, and then I realized that I forgot to put the little decorative flange at the very top, and you have to take the whole thing apart, even the blades.
Or you look around and there's a lot of parts left over. You usually have one or two. They'll tell you that if you read the instructions, but when you have half as many parts left over, you've probably put it together wrong.
Yes. Read the instructions first, even if they're in Chinese. I did get a product where I had no English instructions, and there were pictures, and those were a help. So read the instructions, don't use damaged tools, and wear the right kind of gloves. And then one thing that you can do, very important, we're in an automated society right now. There are so many things that we do where we rely on technology. But what if technology goes away? I mean, think about if you have to turn a screw and you don't have your drill, you don't have the cordless screwdriver or something, you're putting that screw in manually. Well, do you have the hand strength, the grip strength, the forearm strength to do that kind of job? Or if you have to dig a hole, and if you dig a hole for a latrine, those are big words. If you have to dig that kind of hole, it's going to be at least 3 foot wide and 3 feet deep. It should be probably 4 feet wide and 5 feet deep. But are you going to be able to work for 3, 4, 5 straight hours using your hands to dig that? You need to get that hand strength back. A lot of people, you may be in the car, you may be driving, or maybe you're in a truck. That's what you should be driving, is a truck. There are exercises that you can do. You can put your fingers on the steering wheel, and you can push down on them and give resistance to your fingers on that steering wheel, and that will help build up the strength in your fingers. And so there are things that you can do to strengthen your hands. There's equipment that you can buy, but there are things that you can do. You can buy cheaply things that you have around the house, like a bungee cord. You could do amazing things to strengthen your hand strength with just a bungee cord.
If this were a different show, I would say something about that, but I'm not.
Are
about
you
your hand strength?
Yes. No, don't use the shake weight. I know that you've used the shake weight before, but yeah, we don't know.
I have tremendous hand strength in one hand, but I've got to work on the other hand.
Yes, learning to be ambidextrous is another thing that's important to do, because if you have your dominant hand in a cast, let's say you've broken your wrist, there are certain bodily functions that are very difficult to do with your opposite hand. Try brushing your teeth with your left hand if you're right-handed. And there are other things that are just as difficult, if not more difficult, to help with your sanitation if you don't know how to use both hands for that. All right, so hands, obviously very important. Another thing, right after the use of your hands, is your eyes. And there's really not a lot to say to eye safety other than wear the right kind of safety glasses. Safety glasses, you want something that will wrap around a little bit. If you look at like the cool sports sunglasses that wrap around, kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger wore in the Terminator. Those are really handy glasses to have, but you need to get ones that are safety glasses. They're shatter resistant. There's an ANSI standard. That's the American National Safety Institute. It's the Z87 standard. You want to have Z87 protective safety glasses. And you would use those really if you're outdoors, if you're using the chainsaw or the axe, or you're drilling holes where sawdust can kick off, or if you're shooting. Always wear bullet resistant or some sort of flying debris resistant glasses to keep those things out of your eyes, because your hands and your eyes are probably two of the most important things that you have, and you have to be able to protect them. Another thing we're not going to spend a lot of time on is protecting your hearing. You need to wear some sort of hearing protection, and there are ear plugs that go inside your ears, or there are ear muffs that go on the outside of your ears. Both are important. There's a lot of applications where you should wear both. You put the earplugs inside your ears, and then you wear the ear muffs over the top of that, and that'll give you substantial hearing protection. Whenever you're working around an air compressor or power equipment, a table saw or a drill.
Are you around a teenager that has a boom box?
Loud music is really bad for your hearing. And the thing about your hearing is once it's gone, you can never get it back. They don't have any ways of doing that through regrowth. I mean, they can implant a cochlear ear implant in the side of your head, but that's about the only way. And that is very expensive, and that doesn't work for everybody. So if you're going to have loud, sudden noises like a gunshot, those type of hearing protection devices are crucial. You don't want to lose your hearing. And for the shooting enthusiasts or hunting enthusiasts, they have electronic earmuffs that you can wear them, but they will actually amplify the sound that is around you. That will actually improve your hearing while you're wearing them. And then if a gunshot rings out, the hearing protection mechanism kicks in to muffle that sound. You can get those for probably $30 and up. And then on the tactical side, they have Peltor and some other companies make really nice hearing protection, but they're integrated with radios. You plug them into a radio, and then you can talk to one another through that headset. Those can run $300 to $400 and up. But very important, you're protecting your hearing while you're also able to hear what's normally around you. So we've talked about hand safety and head safety. Obviously, if you're felling trees or something, you'd want to wear a hard hat. They're not very expensive, but they're designed to protect blows from falling on your head. If something does hit you, it's going to bounce off. It might hurt a little bit, but not as bad as a tree branch falling on your baseball hat.
No, not at all. It depends who you are. Now, some people may not need the hard hat. They already have a hard head. I can name a few.
Yep.
But that's okay.
But at the very least, sometimes you have that hard head, but you still will get stitches.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
You just don't realize you need them for a couple of days.
Yep. Foot safety is something, again, that's overlooked. You don't want to be mowing the lawn in your flip-flop sandals or your bare feet. You might step on something. You might get stung or bit. Something could kick out from the blade and hit you in the foot, could result in stitches. Or worse, you could lose a toe if you get underneath that mower.
And of all things, I'm going to say foot safety is probably the least thought about, because people don't think about it. They put their shoes on. They don't, they may think about what they're wearing to coordinate with the clothes they're wearing. But if they're out doing something, they'll just go and grab a pair of tennis shoes or something like that when they actually may need steel-toed shoes.
Right. And boots are the best, because especially for mowing, because those will give you some protection for when that rock does kick out. If you're mowing in any kind of soil that there are, sticks or rocks or something, eventually something's going to kick out and it's going to gouge you right in the shin.
It also gives you some support in your ankle too. So if you step down the hole, you don't turn your ankle if you're wearing a pair of boots.
And, if this is way off the subject of preparedness, but we're talking safety. If you are mowing lawns, if you're a kid for the summer and you're mowing lawns or something, if the area is wet or if it's somewhat hilly, you can wear cleats, soccer cleats, baseball football cleats, very good to help with the traction on there on those surfaces. Well, one other thing for footwear for boots is that there are steel-toed boots. They have a steel cap inside the leather. Most people that work in manufacturing or industrial settings are very familiar with these type of boots. If you're going to be working around equipment where something may fall, something heavy, if you're working with a 5-pound hammer, if you think that those steel-toed boots don't matter, just go ahead and drop it on your tennis shoe. No, don't do that. You may have already done that. Or your
flip-flop.
Even better. So things like if you're working with an axe or a chainsaw, those steel-toed boots are very important. Because leather is better than nothing, but a big heavy axe or a chainsaw can still cut through the leather. It'll be more difficult to go through that steel. One thing that if you're standing all day or for long periods of time, you want your boots to have a good heel on them, maybe an inch or so. I'm not talking decorative boots that the ladies wear in the mall or something like that, but just something that will gives you enough cushion. If you're standing,
comfortable too. I mean, that's going to make you comfortable having a good heel on it.
That's right, and that'll help with the standing. Will help with the fatigue. So the heel on the boots, the right sole, is very important. Another thing that is somewhat overlooked, and this is something I've been dealing with for about the last year, is it's under the topic of back safety, but taking care of your back. As we get older, I sat in an office chair in my previous job for a lot of hours during the day, and I didn't really take advantage of the opportunities I had for exercise. And so I developed some lower back pain. And it really just boiled down to two things: poor posture and poor circulation of the blood through my lower back. So I have a lot of stiffness in my back, and I'm working through that. But there are things that you can do to protect your back. And that is stretching before you do any type of physical activity. It doesn't have to be exercise. It could just be work. If you're moving boxes at work, things of that nature, just carrying stuff, it's important to stretch beforehand. Be careful with the movements that you have. Don't overexert yourself where your arms are a long way out away from the central part of your body. You want to do strengthening exercises. And a lot of these things are exercises you can do while you're sitting in a chair or you're in your car. You can learn about a lot of different things through your doctor or on the internet. Don't do anything crazy. Always check with a physician before you start an exercise or diet regimen. And then if you have a lot of stiffness in your lower back, that might just be, again, due to poor circulation. You need to get proper circulation of blood flow through the vertebrae in your lower back. And maybe it's time to go see a chiropractor or a physical therapist or something similar. Figure out what you need to do, but those are things that you need to take care of to protect your body. Exercise is something that's very good. And, I haven't talked a lot about exercise, but you need to be in good shape. These are some things from, as Eric said, with your boots, taking care of your ankles, but you can strengthen your ankles just by standing on your toes, or you put your toes on a 2x4, for instance. And if you just stand up 3 or 4 times, just every now and then, stretch those calf muscles out, you can do a lot to improve your safety and also your stamina.
And Duke, as you always say, it starts in the mind. If you're going to do a project and it's going to be, especially, if you're in a situation where if you get hurt, you may not can get to a hospital or you may not get to a physician, start, be aware of what you're doing, kind of think in your mind, think it through in your mind and plan it. But it starts in your mind. That's what you always say. Preparedness starts with your way of thinking and kind of planning out before. You need to do that with a project too.
Yes. Planning is very good. Proper planning prevents poor preparedness. And that's what P5 stands for.
I was going to say, that'd be a great name for a company. Maybe
that
P5,
sounds good.
Yeah.
We should have done like P6, get practice in there somewhere, because you need to practice on what you're doing. And so, as I was saying, the point of the safety topic here, I know it may sound boring. Who wants to mow the grass with hearing protection and a hard hat and steel-toed boots? Well,
and Bermuda shorts.
Well, now I just want to go out in Bermuda shorts,
There you go.
So the point is that you have to start practicing safety now so that when things are really bad, you're in the habit of doing it. I ended up cutting my finger, as I said, because I'm in the habit of doing certain things. I didn't plan properly beforehand, and I hurt myself. And so you get that chainsaw injury now, you go to the hospital. You screw up with an axe, you go to the hospital, and 9 times out of 10 they fix it. Maybe it's 99 times out of 100. It doesn't matter. The point is that if you get hurt in a grid down situation and there's no medical help readily available, what are you going to do when you have a serious injury? There are certain tasks that are just going to have to be done in a grid down situation. You may not have access to running water for your plumbing system, so you can't use the plumbing system in your house because you have nothing to flush down the toilet. And so you may have to go out and you may have to dig a latrine. And so sometimes you're in rocky soil if that's where you choose to build, so you have to use a pickaxe. Well, a pickaxe can be dangerous. People, if they're not used to working around you while you're digging a hole with a pickaxe, they could walk into the way and they could get hit and they could get hurt. And so you need to consider the activities that you're going to be doing. And again, it's not so much right now. I use a chainsaw quite a bit when I'm out at my property, and I always have somebody with me. We always wear orange hard hats. We wear safety protection. We wear chaps most of the time, but not all the time, because sometimes it gets hot. And what I'm saying is that's
people come up and asking you to prune trees for them too while you're out there, right? Because you look like the tree guys.
I'd rather look like the tree guys.
I agree.
And but no, I should wear the chaps all the time, but sometimes I don't because it's hot, or I left them at the other end of the property, whatever. I'm saying that I'm guilty about those kind of shortcuts as well. We all are.
Sometimes I just wear the chaps. Just wear them. I mean, that's just kind of fun,
That's a picture I didn't need.
Thank you. See, and you were worried about them looking at pictures of chainsaw people getting cut off.
So I need to look at those chainsaw pictures now to get David out of my mind. I mean, sorry, Eric, out of my mind. All right. So hopefully you'll take safety seriously. You can start by getting a good pair of gloves, and you can go to somewhere like OSHA.gov, and you can learn about the different things that you need to do to work safely.
And I think you're right. The hardware store is a great place to go get gloves because they will tell you and have a little more knowledge than you going to Walmart or some other store that you'd normally go buy gloves at. I mean, they're going to pair they're going to ask you what you're doing, what you need it for, and they'll tell you, and they'll give you the best glove for that.
Right. Yep. And having a couple different pairs for different applications. You can wear your chemical protective gloves under your leather gloves if you need to. So you are able to double your gloves up. It's not just a one glove fits all type of thing. You need to fit the glove to what you're doing, to the task. And at P5 Preparedness, we do have some gloves, but they're mostly tactical in nature. But we will tell you the kind of gloves that you need for the job that you're doing. But be sure to visit the store. Talk to either Seth, Keith, or me. I'm Duke, and we'll help you with all of your preparedness needs. As I had mentioned in the first half hour, we've got the Sawyer Mini water filter, and that is probably the best thing that you can buy for the money. And
it's small, compact. You could almost keep it in your pocket if you wanted to, but you can definitely keep one in the car and have one in the house. And
it's about the size of a soda can.
Yeah, it is. And maybe not as big around, but about that size. It's very easy to keep, with you. Carry a backpack or briefcase or whatever.
Yes, and exactly. Keep it in a couple places. One in the car, one in the pack, one at home. And this week only for radio listeners, we're offering $5 off the Sawyer Mini filter. And so that cost will be right at $20. And that is something, again, you can't live without. You can't live without 3 days, for more than 3 days without water on average. And in a survival situation, you're going to need a lot of water, a lot of clean water, because you're going to have to wash clothes and dishes. Even if it's a grid down situation, you still have to stay clean. You're going to need water for drinking, and then you're going to need water for sanitation. Hygiene, drinking, sanitation. You need water.
$5 off, limited time. I mean, it's very limited time, so you need to get in there today or tomorrow.
That's right. And the Sawyer Mini water filter is guaranteed to filter 100,000 gallons of water. That's about 3 in-ground backyard swimming pools. That is a lot of water. And in the Sawyer line of products, we also have the Sawyer all-in-one water filter, which is a 1,000,000-gallon filter. That one's $70. And that's a gravity-fed system where it comes with a drill bit, and you can drill a hole into a 5-gallon bucket, or even better, the 12-gallon blue buckets that we have. and that will be your water reservoir. And you fill that up with your water, and then you've got the gravity feed that comes out of the filter and will fill your water bottle. And you can fill a 32-ounce Nalgene bottle in about 20 to 30 seconds, which is really pretty quick. That's only about half as fast as your water faucet coming out of the kitchen sink. But you just can't beat that. And it's gravity fed, so you don't have to use a hand pump to do that.
And I want to remind everybody, too, they're going to have their network meeting tonight at P5, and it starts about 6:30, 6:45. I would encourage you to get there just a little early so you can kind of browse the store. And no matter where you are in preparedness, whether you're an expert or you're a beginner, go to this. They're going to be talking about seeds, so that's very important with the planting season coming up.
Yep, we'll have our seeds in. Hopefully they'll be in tomorrow. If not, probably be Monday. Be sure to look us up on Facebook to find out what all of our classes are that we offer. And you need to start learning. You really need to improve your skills. P5 is there to help you do that. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7 on East Brainerd Road between Gun Barrel and I-75. Look for the Green Army Deuce and a Half truck. This is Duke Nukem with the Patriot Prepper Show, sponsored by P5 Preparedness. Please take advantage of this nice weather before the rain comes. Get out and do something to prepare. Help yourself, help your family, learn the skills that you need to survive. Have a great week.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys